This poem was written on a return journey to South Africa in 2002, and it's called Redemption. I have been living in these old mountains for 3 months, remembering Gondwana, the first continent that rose right here from the primordial oceans. The land here is so old, there are no fossils, and it is red and dusty. The only visitors to my teepee, giggling filthy children to play with my hair, and cobras who seem friendly enough. I have come here to find redemption amongst the AIDS orphans of Johannesburg. These mountains are just 100 kilometers from where I spent my earliest life, strapped to the back of my Zulu maid Violet, who smelt of green soap and sang songs to me. There will be a total eclipse of the sun today, and people have come from all over the world to Magaliesburg to sit among the old stones in silence. Only the dogs are barking, and the children are laughing and singing down in their makeshift iron school. A Zulu woman of great authority approaches and sits in the circle. Her husband is older and dignified, and he stands behind her as if acknowledging her power. They are the only Africans in this bizarre concoction of European peacemakers. Others tell their travelling tales, and when they are complete, the woman starts to talk. Her voice is soft and resonant, her black eyes full of splendour as she begins her story. As a young woman, she was arrested by the South African police and taken to a cell on her own. She was tortured and beaten up day after day for no reason other than the pleasure of those men. She tells us that in this time she was carrying a child for 8 months. After a particularly vicious beating and being kicked in the stomach, her baby died, and she gave birth after many hours to its small, lifeless body. After she lay in a pool of her and her baby's blood on a cold concrete floor at the edge of death. And looking defeated up at her torturer, some part of her changed. The woman described in a strong voice how she started to imagine this white man as a father and a husband. As she thought and thought about this, she started to feel compassion for him, and she felt joy that she would die knowing this place of forgiveness in herself. The policeman let her go that day, and she returned to her husband and other children. There is silence at her story, and tears, as if some kind of terrible grief we have all been holding can leave now. Her soft words have entered my heart with the power of the Limpopo River that runs relentlessly through this barren land, South Africa. I show to you the white men and women, the privileged of Europe, who believe their civilization is great, the power of the women of Africa. I honor them for all they have endured, for their compassion and forgiveness. To those who do not and cannot understand the dignified and noble heart of the African people,